Hello, my name is Brian Atkins and I haven't gone on a date in 2 years. Some people think it's because I get so into certain subjects that I focus only on that subject and not on my significant other. You could even say I get obsessed. Today, I'm obsessed with Care Bears. Hi, mister, you guys. Care Bears was a 1981 America greeting card mascot designed to be used on a variety of cards that you could buy at your local Walgreens for your granddaughter's birthday or to wish your grandfather a happy circumcision. Listen, it's never too late. The Bears proved to be such a versatile mascot group that they would fit into any subject. So the obvious next step is to leap off the page and into our hearts. Why, just take a look at this Care Bears Pizza Hut commercial from 1984 that makes it look like the kid forgot to take his medicine and the mother must quickly usher him out of the restaurant before he causes a scene. People who know who I am through the Tide Pool Orchestra channel probably know that I know way too much about this stuff. Let's real quick go through some basics in a nice numbered list. Top 5 things you didn't know about Care Bears. Number 1. Care Bears are a metaphor for the Christian idea of guardian angels? This one is what I always start out with. It's the easiest starting point. The bears live up in the clouds using telescopes to watch over children. When they find a child in need, they fly down to Earth and talk through things with them. I think this is the closest they've come to, being a greeting card in their cartoon. Kids feel sad because their parents died? Well, here's Cheer Bear to cheer them up and remind them that life is still worth living. Sorry for your loss, kid. In addition, early 80s episodes also had a Cloud Keeper character who matches the typical Judeo-Christian god archetype, being basically a white man with a beard. Cool! When I watch Care Bears, I can think of racially biased religious allegory archetypes. Awesome. Number 2, the Care Bear pairs can be broken into passive or active categories based on which bear it is. Every Care Bear has something printed on their stomach called a belly badge or a tummy symbol. These symbols can be used to do special powers and abilities, but for some powers they don't really need to activate them because they're just passively working. Some examples I have here: Funshine Bear can summon a miniature sun, and Grumpy Bear can shoot out lightning. Those are classified as active class abilities. The bear has to manually touch their tum-tums in order to activate them. Other bears, like Friend Bear or Amigo Bear, have passive class abilities. Friend Bear's power is to be friends with everyone she meets, and if she had to physically activate this ability, it would really undermine the point. Amigo Bear has the power of knowing every language, especially English and Spanish, so it's just always on. It's like a babblefish from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Number 3. The Care Bear enemies are sometimes way darker than you would expect. The very first Care Bears enemy was in the 1983 special Care Bears: The Land Without Feelings, and it was Professor Coldheart. The bears had already existed for 2 whole years before they had to think of actual villains. So what did they think of? Okay, so this guy is super cool. First off, he has these green creature slaves, which is actually what the Care Bears wiki calls them. Green creature slaves. Sweet. Later on, the professor ends up giving a frothy beer to a small child, which gets the kid drunk and also turns him into one of those green creature slaves. So they were all just drunken children, and the professor was shown physically abusing them earlier in the special, so that's super cool. So they gave Professor Coldheart this dim-witted sidekick in the TV show to make him seem less scary, and that worked for a while, but then they were like, yo, what if instead of a mad scientist just trying to get kids drunk, what if we just had this horrifying lizard that ripped out his own physical heart so that, the Care Bears wouldn't be able to affect him with the Care Bear stare? Which seems like the exact opposite lesson you would expect them to learn from this. Then they gave him an annoying niece and a dim-witted sidekick to make him less scary. And then the movies came out. One had an evil and seductive sorceress trapped in a book of draconic text, and the other was straight up just a demon. The people behind this show really like scary villains, I guess. Number 4, the Care Bear Star can only properly be used by 3 or more bears. The Care Bear Star is far and away the most well-known thing the Care Bears do. People who have only vaguely heard of the Care Bears know they can do this thing called a Caregiver Star, where they shoot lasers out of their tum-tums and can brainwash people or enemies into thinking exactly like they do. Something almost no one seems to understand right away though, is that a Care Bear can't do this by themselves. Generally speaking, to be effective, the Caregiver Star needs to be used by 3 or more Care Bears simultaneously. In the second Care Bears movie, Care Bear Movie 2: A New Generation, we see one Care Bear and one My Little Pony Care Bear trying to use a Caregiver Star to defeat a shape-shifting demon, and it doesn't work. Not until a small child used the last of her strength to launch a marble into a switch, destroying a chandelier that was used to capture all of the other Care Bears, releasing them to help. And number 5. This one is the most surprising. Care Bears is still ongoing. There is currently a Care Bears cartoon called Care Bears Unlock the Magic, which is currently airing on the Boomerang streaming app. The Boomerang streaming app, in case you didn't know, is one of the infinity fucking streaming apps that I'm not going to pay for because I don't want to pay a monthly subscription for one fucking show. I'm not paying $5 a month to watch Care Bears. So HBO Max has recently come out and is absorbing all of these other smaller streaming networks. The DC streaming service was pretty cool because it had Doom Patrol and Harley Quinn, and there was a Cartoon Network streaming app that was showing new episodes of cartoons shortly after they came out on TV. Both of these have been absorbed by HBO Max, which is like the mini mall to Netflix's Walmart. So new shows like Doom Patrol Season 2, the Adventure Time BMO special, and the newest season of Infinity Train are HBO Max originals now and have the HBO Max opener. Here is my ultimatum. You guys have a deal with Warner Media, right? It's how you get the Cartoon Network part for your streaming network. It's why the Teen Titans Go keep crossing over with like Powerpuff Girls and Thundercats and Doom Patrol or whatever. You guys stick your Boomerang originals on there? You stick Care Bears on there? I pay for HBO Max then. I stop pirating. I stan HBO Max then. Okay, sorry about that weird side tangent. Care Bears. Something I made for Tidal Orchestra was the conventional Care Bear stat system. Over on Tidal Orchestra, I made videos called How Strong Is, based on random characters, which is how I met Cracktoon, and we became good friends, and I make fun of him for being Romanian because it's where vampires live. The conventional Care Bear stat system is designed to be as simplistic as possible, with only 6 stat points to think about because I'm big lazy. You can put any character through these stat systems and find out how strong they are, which is what I do over there almost every week. For an example, we'll talk about Professor Coldheart because I mentioned him earlier. How strong is Professor Coldheart? Stats time, every stat ranges from 0 to 10, with 10 being the highest score possible. Caring, 10. Professor Coldheart cares a lot for the children and makes sure they always have cool refreshments. Beer. Billy Badge, 0. Professor Coldheart does not have a tummy symbol, so that means he is not an active or a passive class Care Bear, because instead he's some sort of like Dr. Draken. Speed, 5. That seems like average speed, maybe a bit higher than average. Sounds fair for him. He has like anime character speed, I guess. Strength, 4. I don't know, lol. He seems about average, maybe kind of strong for his age. I don't know. Jump, 2. So this is a stat I usually give higher scores for if the character can fly. But Professor Coldheart can't really fly, so he doesn't get a 10. And heroism, 10. The evil professor is pretty heroic. So anyway, Care Bears, not much to talk about here that I haven't said a million other times before, but if you like this video, I'm going to link a Care Bears playlist at the end of this video for you to watch. Anyway, maybe if I stop obsessing over these emotional Earth sign, I can get a day to not die alone. Anyway, I'm Brian Atkins. I'm an alcoholic who talks about Care Bears way more than any other guy this age, and if you're watching this, I'm available? I can work around your schedule. It's cool. I have a lot of free time. Please like and subscribe. My next video, I'm going to be less drunk.